honey. Looking back, it was all needed. The problems, the pain, the trauma, the grieving. You are now tuned into the prisoner to painter. Prisoner to painter. Hard work, dedication. Rainy days, inspiration. Prisoner to painter.
And now, a word from your local Poke dealer.
You're welcome. Just waiting for Facebook to catch up to the StreamYard. And we are live.
Welcome to the Prisoner to Painter podcast. I'm Nathan McDermott.
And I am Katie McDermott.
And today joining us is A.J Wyckoff, part 2. We learned on his first episode that he is a Freemason, and Katie was very interested, as am I. So, stories of inspiration and just stories in general. So we're swaying away from his whole life story and just going to go down that path. And I think that can take a whole episode.
It banned us from
It might. If not, we can veer off. We can have fun.
Exactly.
I'm absolutely open.
Awesome.
Your typical spiel?
Normally I give the same spiel. I guess I'll switch it up a little bit, but no, I just appreciate you coming on. Pretty much the same thing I tell everybody is that it takes a lot of courage to come on and tell your story. The second time's probably a little easier, honestly. For you weren't nervous the first time or this time.
I don't get nervous, man.
That's a good trait to have. So, that's really all I got. Katie's gonna more so take the lead on this one. Normally she pipes in and I'm the one rambling the whole time. She's gonna ramble and I'm gonna pipe in.
She's the conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. We got a little bit of feedback through your mic and it's driving me nuts. So I'm just going to leave it alone because it's going to bother me the whole time. Okay. I have my questions wrote down because I want to be respectful and all of that things. So what first sparked your curiosity about Freemasonry and what motivated you to join?
All right. So
Good first question.
that is an excellent first question because that goes all the way back to when I was in the Marine Corps. My curiosity was sparked a little bit while I was in the Marines because there was a gunnery sergeant that was a Freemason, and he wasn't shy about telling you, but obviously he kept everything kind of, if you, our whole belief is if you want to be, you got to ask. We don't recruit, so he never recruited any of us. And then by getting to know him a little bit, I found out that there were other higher ups in Freemasonry in the Marine Corps that were Freemasons, and that just kind of sparked my interest a little bit. And some guys, at some point in time, I was always thinking maybe it's something for me, maybe it's not. And I didn't really know much about it. So I just kind of kept it on the back burner, never really made it a thing for a lot of years to push for anything. And then one day I was in my brother and his friend at the time. We were on our way to a whiskey tasting thing, and that's when I found out my brother had been a Mason for almost a year. And I'm sitting there talking to them about it. And I'm like, you know what? What does it take to be a Freemason? And then they told me. That was the first step. And it was just on from there. I ended up, petitioning and everything. And then my dad also ended up petitioning. And, it was me and my brother and my dad. And, it's just been a phenomenal thing for my life.
Sidetrack question real quick because I've never been able to ask.
I don't expect much less from you.
Thank you. So gunnery sergeant, there's nothing with the Freemasons. I don't know, but seriously, so I hear it on NCIS. Gibbs is like my favorite dude. He was a gunnery sergeant. What is the difference between a gunnery sergeant and a normal sergeant? Is there any difference?
Okay, so we're talking Marine Corps here. All right. So Army, they're weird. They handle it a different way. All right. Yes, I'm talking about you. Marine Corps, well, the entire military goes by pay grades.
Yep.
All right. So you've got the non-NCOs, non-commissioned officers, which are private first class, lance corporal, corporal, sergeant, staff sergeant.
Okay.
Well, actually, just up to sergeant.
Okay.
And then you've got the staff non-commissioned officers, which are staff sergeant, gunnery sergeant,
Okay.
and up.
Okay.
And so gunnery sergeant is an E7,
Okay.
which is their pay grade is E7, and so forth.
For some reason, I just thought it was like not like a nickname, but just like you know,
the
gunnery sergeant, not
the nickname, the short form of that is Gunny.
Gunny. Okay.
We'll call him Gunny.
Gotcha. Okay. That's all I wanted. Sorry.
Okay, I know I'm not gonna ask too much specifics about the joining process, but you said you petitioned, so do they have to like look into you?
Yes, absolutely. So you cannot become a Freemason unless you ask.
Right.
You cannot just be invited. Usually, I mean, I know it happens. You know, some guys will push for it. Hey, come be a Freemason with me. You'll love it. That's not the way it's supposed to work. If you know a Freemason and you're curious about it and you're asking about it, and it's something that you do, you know, you look at that buddy and say, you know, I like the way you are. I like you as a person. Maybe Freemasonry, if it influences you that much, how do I become a Freemason?
Yeah.
That is always the first step. To be one, ask one. And that is what I did. That is what you're supposed to do as a Freemason.
Okay. So how long have you been a Freemason? Sounds
I
like some
think
time.
6 or 7. No.
Oh, really?
Not very long, actually.
Okay.
6 or 7 years, maybe.
Okay.
I might be corrected on that by John Ferguson, the dick, but yeah. I hope he's watching this. But I think it was like 6 or 7 years.
Okay.
I've loved it. So yeah, you know.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm scrolling because I got a lot. I got a lot. How has being a Freemason personally influenced your daily moral or ethical decision making?
Okay, so before I was a Freemason, I like to think I was a good guy. No, and I was never not a good guy at some level.
Mhm.
All right, so I may have been more of a dick to people, and may have. Yeah, I was more of a dick to people. But when I joined Freemasonry, I accepted the whole thing that it is men making men better. Great, good men making good men better.
Yep.
And you can't do that unless you are consistently striving to be a better man.
Mm-hmm.
From day to day, if I hold myself accountable to be that better man, but than I was yesterday. If I'm not doing that, then I'm not holding up to my obligation, which to myself, to my family, to Masonry, my obligation is to be a better man tomorrow than I was today. Does it always work? No, but I do. I make that step. I do my best.
So they say I don't know who they are, so let me I don't know how to
Just say history.
Okay. So yeah. So for there to be good and bad, there has to be a moral compass. So for me, for our side of the table, it's I'm a Catholic, but now we're just like non-denomination. So our moral compass is God. A Muslim's moral compass might be Allah, right? So what is your guys' moral compass?
In order to be a Freemason, you have to believe in a higher power.
Awesome.
You cannot be an atheist.
Okay.
You cannot be a Satanist.
Fair enough.
You have to believe in God.
Mm-hmm.
If you are a Muslim, you can believe in Allah.
Yeah.
You can be almost any religion and be a Mason, but the whole point, we're not a religion.
Mm-hmm.
We are a moral compass. Our symbol is the square and compass.
Okay, I had to skip ahead in my questions. What is the role of the great architect of the universe in Masonic philosophy?
Let me answer that by asking a question. You believe in a higher power?
Yes, we do.
that is the great architect of the universe.
Okay.
It is the person that you place your belief in. If you were to believe in Allah, that is the great architect of the universe for you. If you believe in God, as the Christians believe, that is the great architect of the universe.
Okay.
We pray before every meeting. We pray after every meeting. That is the only prayer that happens. We are not a religion. We do not preach. We do not talk about religion or politics during open lodge. When we are up there handling our business, we do not do so.
How I'm kind of walking on eggshells about this one.
You can walk all you want, but just ask.
Yeah.
So when you pray before and after, how does that work when the styles of prayer and maybe the great architects are different?
It's kind of a general prayer.
Sure.
So, just for example, if you were a Muslim or a Jew, Jew can be considered a slur, it might not be for some, but if you, either way, when we are doing our opening prayer, it is up to you who you are praying for.
Okay.
Praying to, I should say.
Understood.
For me, it's God.
Yep.
For our Jewish brothers, it's God, but in their own.
Yeah, without Christ incarnate.
But it's a general prayer.
Yep.
So we do not pray to God. We do not pray to Allah. It's a general prayer. You are praying to who you pray for the meeting to go well, for the brotherly love to happen.
So then my next question then, because you're saying it's just a general prayer. So I go to AA, or I used to. I'm sober. That's okay.
That's
yeah,
great.
Yeah. So well, I kind of swayed away from AA, but that's fine.
That's up to you.
So they say, that they're not a religious organization, and blah 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 blah. At the end, we say the Lord's Prayer. So we are not a religious organization, but how are you going to say that you can pray to any God when you say the Lord's Prayer? That's kind of like one God.
So
prayer.
the Lord, no, not necessarily. When you say the Lord's Prayer, it's praying for the world.
Yeah.
It's praying on your own terms to the world, for the world. You're not saying, "Dear God, I'm praying to you." The Lord's Prayer is, I think, the ultimate general prayer, because the only ones who really can't do that, as far as I know, I'm not a big religious scholar by any means, and I don't want anybody ever think I am. I think I am, at least. No. No, the Lord's Prayer can be said by many religions.
Fair enough.
I feel like the focus for you and that thinking was the Our Father who art thou in heaven. Hallowed be thy name.
Well,
That's like the first part. Though.
Thy will be done.
Absolutely.
To me, it sounds very, very Christian.
Absolutely. But anybody can pray that, because as far as religions go, because everybody has a Lord. Every religion has a God, at least at some level.
Yep.
Whether you believe in many gods, whether you believe in many Lord, whatever. Every religion has a God. Every religion has a Lord, somebody they can pray to. And if you believe in a higher power, if you believe in God, anything, you can say that prayer and not be violation of your religion for the most part.
Fair enough.
Now, I do believe, like Muslims, they wouldn't say it because
maybe Buddhists too.
Maybe Buddhists.
Maybe,
I'm sure there's many religions that won't say it, and I'm not one to tell them if they're right or wrong.
Yeah.
So sorry, I'm on the phone.
Absolutely.
I have a laundry list of stuff.
No,
but
absolutely. Keep going.
I'm trying to go with relevancy of what you talk about.
Yes.
So, you mentioned the brotherly love. So, what does the concept of brotherly love truly mean within the context of a lodge?
The guy is a mason. The guy is a man trying to make himself better. If he needs your assistance, if he needs your friendship, anything, you're there to help him. Not necessarily just because you're a Mason. It's because he's a brother, he's a man, he's trying to make himself better. You want to be there for him. You want to be his support. The only way that can happen though is if he reaches out to you, or he lets you know what's going on, and you go back and say, "Hey, how can I help you? What can I do for you?"
You have to ask for help.
I'm gonna get a little hot buttony
Nope.
here.
Go for it. That's
So
what I'm here for.
with those principles, what moral and ethical dilemmas did Masons on both the Union and Confederate sides face in order to attack or capture a lodge building with fellow Masons?
You know, I wish I knew like what was going through their heads. I wish I knew that end.
Yeah.
But I can tell you right now that on both sides, if they knew they were, if me being a Union soldier came across a Confederate soldier and he gave me certain signs about so forth, and I knew he was a Mason brother, I'm going to give him my hand. I'm going to stand him up, and I'm going to say, you know, whether, yeah, I may not give him special treatment as far, but I'm going to help him a little bit more. I don't know how to, whatever. It's like, okay, you're a brother Mason. I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to trash you. I'm not going to dog on you. Stand up. I'm going to treat you like a man and a brother and a Mason. You're still going to be a prisoner.
Okay, I'm gonna go back
They
to the
even
beginning.
held meetings. I'm going to hold you off just 1 second.
Okay.
They even held lodge with Confederates and Union soldiers together during that time.
That's wild to me.
Because
Well,
we
I
don't
recall-
view each other as enemies.
Right.
We were viewing each other as we're doing our job. We're fighting for what we believe and so forth. But we were not looking at each other as enemies.
I think that speaks to an organization as a whole, that you can literally go through a fucking civil war and still come out one piece. Like
Yeah.
they say America did that. I don't agree that America did that. But the Freemasons, that's
The
incredible.
entire world is full of Freemasons.
That's incredible.
I know that it is one of the oldest fraternities in
The
existence.
oldest.
Yes. When did it start? With rough estimates.
So that is debatable,
Okay.
even amongst Masons. So our story begins with the building of King Solomon's Temple. And yes, that's where our story begins. That's where we've adopted our beginning. Where, you know, we built it. There's a whole story about, here are the master masons. And when I'm not talking about, you know, me being a master mason, I'm talking about actual masons that built things. Stonework, woodwork, actual masons. They knew their job better than anybody. They were teaching the others. And as you went up in the ranks, that is how you became. You started off like if you're an electrician, what do you start off as?
A journeyman.
No, an apprentice.
Oh, apprentice. Okay, fair enough. Yes.
And then you move up to, well, I guess it's now called a journeyman or whatever,
Yep.
but a fellow craft.
Okay.
A person who knows his craft, but isn't necessarily a master
Or a
at it.
teacher that
Or-
can teach somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you move up to master.
So essentially, the beginnings were guild type, like a
Yes.
guild.
Absolutely, but I believe, and I don't have a connection, but so I couldn't tell you the necessary year, but actual Freemasonry started becoming a thing in England, in Scotland, and everything, and it just kind of spread out.
Gotcha. One of my
We
questions.
even traced, hold on,
No,
we
you're good.
even traced back to the Knights Templar, who became Masons.
What's that?
Knights Templar. Oh, we could go
We've seen
into.
them in the parade.
I am a Knight Templar.
Okay, can you give me a dumbed down version?
The actual, like the from the beginning, the Knights Templar were who fought in the Crusades. They were the ultimate warriors in the Crusades. They were also the guys who kind of started the big banking system as well.
Okay.
So all of these kings and lords and everybody, they'd say, "Here's you're going to store my money."
Mhm.
And, it kind of like a way a bank does.
Yeah.
You store my money, I'm going to come get it when I need it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And they became one of the richest organizations at the time because they were doing that and they were able to charge interest and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that is the Knights Templar in a nutshell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever. And they were great warriors. They were whatever, but they were also killed by, I want to say the Catholics.
These guys.
Oh yeah, during the Crusades. Okay.
And then they do have representation in some parades, but they do not look like that.
No, we don't.
They don't look like that anymore.
We're mostly fat and middle aged, and we're just trying to, doing our best to be a good example. But yeah, we're still called Knights Templar. We've kind of adopted that based off of what the Knights Templar were.
Sorry, I got lost. What's one aspect of lodge life that you look forward to the most?
Visiting other lodges. So we believe by one thing, you never meet a stranger in Freemasonry, you just meet a new friend. So when you go to these lodges, whether it's a little lodge up in BFE, Michigan, you visit there, you're treated as somebody that they've known your entire life. You're not treated as a stranger by any means. You're brought in with open arms, hugs, handshakes. You're treated as a brother. And to me, that is what Freemasonry is supposed to be. And it's also, so to speak, you're a Freemason, you just need somebody to talk to. You have a problem. You could call me. You can come to my house and say, worship a brother. I need some assistance, or I need some help. Can you help me? And I'm there for you, without a doubt. That is the best part for me, what is Freemasonry.
A lot of people often describe it as a school of self-improvement. So what's the most important personal lesson that you've learned?
That is actually a difficult one, because I have used Freemasonry as a guiding principle in itself. I know it's not a principle. It has its principles, but I've kind of used it as, so there was a time in my life that I used to treat people, like certain, like if I had met you, I don't know, I'll say 15 years ago, chances are I would have been like, okay, yeah, nice to meet you, whatever, whatever. What's the difference between then and when I met you a couple months ago?
Yeah.
That is what I have strived for, is to become more open about that and to become a much better human, much better everything. I take everybody that I can, take example, some people are just, you can't do it with.
Yeah.
But if I will talk to anybody sitting next to me at the bar until I find out they're just a horrible person.
Yeah.
But if I can call you my brother, whether you're a Mason or not, I'm going to call you my brother, because my whole goal is just to be a better, better person, better man, better friend to people. If I can make a friend with you, I'm gonna,
I was always curious, and to probably have no correspondence at all. I always see the Lions Club when I'm in Michigan Center. What is the Lions Club? Are they trying to be like a Freemason club?
I don't know anything about
Okay.
Lions, but what I'll tell you, it's another charitable organization. I know they do great things for their communities. Phenomenal things. They build playgrounds. They raise money for charities.
They have halls like the Eagles and the Legion.
Absolutely.
I knew that, and I knew they sell the candy. My question more was, are they trying to be like you guys, or just that they're doing their own thing?
No, they do their own thing. They're their own organization.
Right on.
Eagles, you bring that up. I'm also an Eagle. I'm a member of everything, by the way. The Eagles, they're a phenomenal organization. I love what they do for the communities. I love everything. There are certain aspects of when you become an Eagle that are very similar, but different than becoming a Mason.
We
See-
have
see,
all of
that's-
our families' funerals and things there because of that.
They do a phenomenal job taking care of each other and taking care of the community, suicide awareness
Mhm.
and so forth. I just absolutely love being a member of the Eagles for that purpose.
Yeah, that's more. I guess if you're not a Lion, you couldn't have answered that. That was more the track I was
I've
thinking.
never been in a Lion, but I
Right.
know members,
Mhm.
I know people. And in fact, some of the people I respect the most are Lions.
Oh,
I just don't know much.
gotcha.
Like as far as outside of what they do for the community.
Understood.
I've been really excited to ask this question. So the Masons use the phrase, a system of morality veiled in allegory and illustrated by symbols. Can you explain what that means?
So let me say that again. Like I want to make sure I'm clear what I'm answering.
The Masons use the phrase, a system of morality veiled in allegory and illustrated by symbols.
We use allegories to teach our lessons. Okay. So we spoke about King Solomon's temple. The truth of the matter is we don't know the conversations that happen. We don't know stuff. We go off of what the stories that are passed down over our generations about it. They become allegories, right? That's the first part of your question.
Mhm.
That morality based off of the allegories. Now, what's the next part?
That is illustrated by symbols.
Symbols, square and compass. I'm wearing the square and compass right now. The G that's in the middle of most of it.
I like your tie, by the way. I really like your
Yeah.
tie, dude. It's
By the way.
on it. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
I thought they were ponies until you pointed that out. I'm just saying.
I also got one with whales.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So we can talk about work again because I wear this specifically for work. That's a whole different conversation. But the symbols that Freemasonry uses, the square compass, the G in the middle, the other tools of a working man that we use, those are all symbols of building yourself, cementing yourself, squaring yourself to be, with your brother, being on the level with your brothers, which I'm not ashamed. It's like, okay, so we're always absolutely true. We, at least most of us, are absolutely truthful with each other at all times. We, every symbol that we have is based off of the allegories of building a better man.
So you speak in metaphors.
That's not the same.
Right. Because allegory is different than metaphor. But
Way different.
right.
But our lessons are allegories for the most part. Some of them are really hardcore based in truth, but lessons like that you take from the building of King Solomon's, that we take from building of the King Solomon's temples, those are, at least as far as I know, all allegories.
Okay.
You're learning a lesson from these stories.
What's the G?
The G, some people, some Masons. So it's weird because I was always taught that it stood for God, but then some say it stands for geometry, which is the basis of the way the world works. So, look, 90-degree angle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything
Like
angles.
sacred geometry.
Yes,
Okay. I just
Both.
wanted to put a
Both.
little bit.
both.
Okay. Okay.
So math. So we bring up the math part and everything. You know what the liberal arts are?
I know.
Math, science,
STEAM.
STEM.
Science, technology,
STEAM,
engineering, arts, and math.
Okay.
Okay, so there you go. That geometry is like everything around you. Everything has a geometric shape. That sound barrier, the sound stuff you got there, that's geometric. So that's what the G for many ends of Freemasonry means. Some it's God. In between the square and compass, we square our actions. We, the that's, I guess, the best basis of it right there. You know, God is to me, God is the greatest thing on earth, and on earth and outside of earth and beyond the universe and everything. God is the greatest. So to me, when somebody asks me, you know, outside of here, you know, what the G stands for, it stands for God and geometry.
Fair enough.
What's the difference between a secret society and a private society?
A private society, we restrict who can join. We have restrictions, but we're not secret. We're out in the open. If we were not out in the open, you would not know I was a Mason. I would never have brought it up in our first interview.
Fair enough.
Hold on, I had another one. Where'd it go? Why do you believe that the theory persists that Freemasonry is linked to the Illuminati or New World Order?
Because of History Channel. Hey, History Channel.
Yeah.
They created all these shows that just want to strike up the conspiracies.
I mean, it's kind of
Because
hard.
it brings attention.
It's the oldest fraternity.
It's the oldest fraternity. And you know what? We do have secrets. We do have secrets. And you know what? Those secrets are truthfully out there, readily available if you know what you're looking for. The fact of the matter is, we're a society with secrets. We're not a secret society. History Channel and these other conspiracy theorists, Alex Jones and so forth, they have really like pounded their secret. They keep people out, blah, blah, blah. No, we are just like, we don't want somebody who is running drugs up from Florida. And yes, this is a true story, kind of want somebody running up from drugs up Florida, utilizing his parents' friggin' semi, you know, company, whatever. We don't want them as part of our society. So guess what? We're going to vote on who can be and who can't be a Mason.
Yeah.
It's not everybody, you know, and I hate History Channel so bad. So you're going to hear me speak about History Channel so much sometimes when I start talking about these conspiracies and everything. They want to make it sound like it's an absolute society outbound on control of the world and stuff like that.
My next question was about the world domination
and
aspect.
I'm looking forward to that question. But it's not.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna go find it because, like I said, they're in like my ADHD brain order. Yeah. So, how would you respond to the idea that it's a secretive shadow government or they are seeking world domination?
Where's my check and where do I take my seat above the United States? You know, no. So I think one of the biggest seeds for that conspiracy is the fact that there are a lot of presidents. There are a lot of higher, you know, big politicians, world leaders and stuff that were part of Freemasonry or are part of Freemasonry and so forth. But the Freemasonry has nothing to do with it. These are people who, you know, just happen to be Masons or joined Masonry. And then they became whatever they were later on. It really has nothing to do with, hey, I'm a Freemason. I'm gonna take over the Michigan and say I'm gonna be governor and tell you no.
I know that a lot of people may be secretive about their membership. Do you know anybody off your head that has been openly in like a political area? I know we were talking, you said
Brad Paisley, the singer, country singer. Mm-hmm. He's an open Freemason. He will tell you he wears the ring. He loves it, and he's very active in his lodges, I guess. My understanding is. But right off the top of my head, I really can't think of anybody that is actively Freemason. But I can guarantee you, if you watch ESPN or Fox News, CNN, and you watch the guy's hands, a lot of times you'll see a ring. You're like, that's a Masonic ring. It's not because they're trying to show it off. It's because they're proud of it and they're going to wear the ring. And
Is there an age restriction for joining to be a Freemason?
Some states it's jurisdictional.
Okay.
So some states, Michigan is 18 now.
Okay.
It used to be 21. Most states are 21, is my understanding. But it is jurisdictional. It depends on the Grand Lodge of that state.
Is there ever too old though? Like, could you become a Mason at 80? Which I don't know why you would want
So-
to, but is that even?
So per the ideals of Masonry and all that stuff, if you're in your dotage, if you are beyond the point of thinking for yourself necessarily and everything, then no, you cannot just join Freemasonry.
Understood.
If you are too young to make your decision, hence under the age of 18 or 21,
Yep.
depending on what state you're in, no, you cannot become a Freemason at that age.
Understood.
You've got to be able to be a man conscious of your own decisions, conscious of everything, not just say, oh, I want to be a Mason at 16 years old. No. Or I'm 98 years old. I always wanted to do it. I'm going to, no.
Right.
Absolutely not. You can't be out of your right mind, so to speak. You can't be slipping so much.
Gotcha.
I just want to word it right. So, okay. I'm going to loosely use the word. Is there a particular ritual that holds special significance to you with a loose usage of the word?
I'll give you that. That's a good question. I hope that any, and I'm going to be very loose on this answer because I can't give
Specifics.
specifics.
Mhm.
I hope every new Freemason pays particular attention and listens to every lesson, but more so the fellowcraft degree. That to me is, I won't say the most important, but it is more educational.
Okay.
Is there ever a Grand Mason meeting? Like
Grand Lodge.
Okay.
There's Grand Lodge, but every state has its own Grand Lodge. There is.
Okay.
I do know that on occasion, some states will say, okay, you know, a Grand Lodge of Michigan or a Grand Master of Michigan, come down here and join us, and they'll invite a few states. I don't know at that level, so to speak, what they do, but every lodge is answers to the Grand Lodge of that particular state.
Okay.
So Michigan has its own Grand Lodge.
Mhm.
Ohio, Indiana, California,
Yeah.
they all have their own Grand Lodge.
So there's no Grand Lodge that they answer to.
There is no Grand Lodge of
Like
Freemasonry.
Okay. Understood.
There is a Grand Lodge of each state. There in other countries, it might vary a little bit the way they do it,
Mhm.
but there is no central Freemasonry.
Understood.
In a time when people are mainly online, why is a structured, traditionally face-to-face organization like the lodges still relevant for men today?
So I wish I could point you directly to the studies. I really wish I could, because there's a lot of studies right now that young men are lonely.
Yeah.
They're the loneliest that they've ever been.
Yeah.
So when you start talking about organizations like Freemasonry, the Eagles, American Legion, and all these social organizations, that's a way to get out there and not be lonely anymore.
People.
So Freemasonry is, I'm a member of a lot of organizations. I've already made that clear.
Mhm.
Freemasonry to me is probably the best one for that. To not be lonely. These 21, 22, 23-year-olds, they're not getting the for lack of a better term, extroversion that I was raised with.
Yep.
I was raised to be out there in bars and clubs and everything.
Community.
I was raised that. Kids are not being raised that anymore, and they're becoming more lonely. They're becoming more, that's why we're getting more shootings. That's why we're getting more of the stuff. They don't know how to act socially. They're not being raised with that solid foundation. Freemasonry is a way for them to get that solid foundation later in life.
We have been to some events, so that you got to point to, so like that study is 100% real. We've heard that from Home New Vision, like we've heard that from a lot of different sources. Like that is 100% true. And not getting too far off topic, I believe a lot of that is that everything's so easily accessible that doesn't make you less lonely. I feel like it makes you lonelier. Like,
Yeah, it
I mean,
does.
you know what I mean? Like,
You're sitting here looking at your cousin, my cousin. I'm looking at my cousin over in England.
Mhm.
Got a lot of the cousins over there. I'm looking at my cousin over in England, wishing I was over there.
Yeah.
What's that going to do to you psychologically?
fucking lonely, or
Make it-
sad, or
make it
sad,
sad,
or whatever. Yeah.
So when you've got brothers that you can, say, hey, let's go out to, go fishing, or let's go to the bar, let's
Yeah,
go
grab a beer or something, yeah.
grab a sandwich somewhere.
Mhm.
That is what people need.
Yes, it is.
Young men, especially.
Yeah.
Women too.
Yeah.
I'm not going to discount women,
Yeah.
but men are the loneliest they've ever been in history right now, and there are studies to prove that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got like 15 still that I
Oh,
want to talk about, but
you let it roll.
Yeah.
You let it roll.
Um,
If I can't answer, if I'm stupid and they can't, I'm for it. I'll sit here and look at them and be like,
I would argue that the two most well-known Freemasons that I know of are George Washington and Benjamin Franklin. Could you talk about their influence on the or on the fraternity as like a whole?
so that's not an argument to be had because they are.
Okay.
John Adams, and there's a ton of Freemasons that we look up to as Freemasons. So you want to talk about George Washington's influence? The guy took a losing war, a war that he had actually at his age and everything had no position being in where he was at.
Yeah, business being
He had no business whatsoever.
Mhm.
And he took his ideals that he grew up with and that he lived and turned it into the United States of America.
made it a damn country.
Exactly. Guess what? That is, and he wasn't a Freemason the entire time, but he always lived by those things. Like, you're my soldier. I'm here for you. You need it. I'm here for you. Those are the kind of ideals that we pull in as Freemason. We try to freaking make it a thing for every Freemason. You are there for each other. That's what George Washington did. And he turned that into being the most successful, most highly respected Freemason of all time.
That leads kind of into my next question.
Perfect.
What historical evidence exists that the Masonic principles directly influence the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution?
You know what? I don't think there's any evidence because I don't believe that's necessarily the truth, other than that there was as many Freemasons that wrote it and signed it and all that stuff.
There were quite a few.
So logically, if you got 20 guys that are Freemasons, putting together their thoughts and ideas and everything, logically, to me at least, it may not be to everybody, but logically, their ideals of Freemasonry, what they thought was Freemasonry, had a hand in it. It doesn't necessarily mean that, hey, I'm doing this because Freemasonry says this.
Mm-hmm.
No, it means that, hey, I believe in this idea. I'm going to put it in this document that is intended to last for eternity, that I believe all men and women should abide by. That person happened to be a Freemason, and he happened to use the ideals that he's learned as a Freemasonry in that. It has nothing to do with, hey, I'm a Freemason, I want to push my ideology.
Do you know my favorite thing about the founding fathers, though? And it probably has something to do with them being Freemasons, but that's not why I'm saying this. They were so smart and intelligent that they knew that the world was going to be different in 200 years, and they wrote that piece of paper to be able to change with the way the world changed.
Absolutely.
Like that is the smartest thing.
They made it a piece of cement that can change.
Change, yeah. Yep.
Here are, basically, for lack of better, here is the Constitution. This United States will abide by, but it will change, but you will abide by.
Yep.
The government, and you know what? It's not the people that have to abide by the Constitution. That the Constitution is not intended to govern you and me. It's not. It's intended to govern the government. And they knew that. And they said, yes, it can be fluid at some level, but it is always going to be the right to free speech, the right to, fight against the government if it becomes tyrannical, the right to bear arms, to be able to fight against that government if it becomes tyrannical, and all this stuff. They knew that, and they put it in cement.
But you can write in the cement.
But you can write in the cement a little bit.
Yeah,
Just a little bit, even though it's unfortunate that some asshole politicians take advantage of it and they skew it and they.
And not getting too much into it, but that is one of my favorite things. So like the freedom of speech. So technically a freedom of speech is to yell bomb in a crowded building. Now you shouldn't do that. That's why they made it illegal. So it's like, that's why we needed them to write it the way they wrote it.
Yes.
The freedom of speech is, but you like probably shouldn't yell bomb in a building. Like you probably shouldn't do that. So that's why they made it illegal. But the rest of the freedom of speech is there.
And then slander.
Well, so that's why I'm glad they made it, what was the word you used? Fluid. They made it fluid.
So free speech does not guarantee you against consequence, and we're learning that more and more these days. I don't have to say why and everything. Everybody who's gonna listen to this knows why.
Maybe you won't go to jail for
free
it. But you'll get
speech.
canceled.
Free speech only stops you from being prosecuted by the government for your words. And as long as you haven't been a danger to society on those words, that is it.
There are natural consequences to your actions.
Well, the court of public opinion.
You can lose your job.
Mm-hmm.
You can lose your home. You can lose all the stuff because you said and did dumb things.
So what is the history behind various branches or rites of Freemasonry, such as the York Rite and the Scottish Rite?
Okay, so every Mason who has received his Master Mason degree, and this is new to me actually, and it was just taught to me recently by a fellow brother Mason. Every Mason who has received his Master Mason degree is part of the York Rite, even though they may not have joined the York Rite specifically, which is some degrees above the third degree as far as lessons learned and stuff like that. Scottish Rite is just adding on to the lessons learned. Both of them are. Those are. It's an individual choice. So me, I have decided. Several years ago decided to become a York Rite Mason. Eventually, I'll become a Scottish Rite as well. That's my plan. But York Rite Masonry was the path to becoming, and in the commandery, which is what we were discussing earlier, the Knight Templar. Eventually I'll become a Scottish Rite Mason, and we'll see how that goes. We'll see where that leads me. The lessons taught during that, they're designed to make you a better Mason and a better man. Every lesson you take is designed to make you a better man.
Continual education.
Is there a way, this is just the dumbest way to put it, but don't worry, is there a way to move up? Like in ranks? Is there a way to like?
Okay, so yes and no.
Okay.
The highest degree in Freemasonry, I don't care what anybody says. I might get arguments on it, whatever. This third degree. It is the third degree Master Mason. That is the highest degree. You are on the level with every Mason that exists.
Understood.
So when you start talking about, let's say, Scottish Rite Masonry, it goes up to the 32nd degree, and then the 33rd degree is a honorary rite. They choose who gets that 33rd degree, and I don't know who it is that chooses. I'm not there.
Understood.
But the 32nd degree Mason those are just, each degree is just additional lessons.
Okay. And what is a lesson? Just like a normal
allegories. We were talking about allegories.
Okay.
There are allegories that are designed to make you a better man and better Mason.
Okay.
And that is what, those lessons are.
Okay.
So it's not like I'm a 16th degree Mason, you're below me third degree. No, that third degree is on the level with that 16th degree. I don't care what that if that 16th degree thinks that he's over anybody else, he's a dumbass and he needs to be put in his place.
Okay.
Is there any relevancy linking it to the 33 degrees of the vertebrae in the human spine? Just curious.
Not that I'm aware
I had to do a Google because of my brain.
Look, this is what cracks me up. Her algorithm on her Google, she'll Google that and it'll show a conspiracy.
Yeah.
That's correct.
I just was curious.
Not that I'm aware of.
There are 33 vertebrae in the human spine. There's
I
varying
mean,
levels.
the way I think I can make a connection with it.
It's very esoteric.
You know, esoteric. No, there is esoteric Freemasonry.
Okay.
And I'm a high believer in esoteric Freemasonry, but I also kind of take to the general man's ideal behind it. I'm there for my brother more than I believe in the esoteric ends of it. There are secrets, there are spiritual ends,
Thank you.
everything.
Thank you.
But
My brain went to means of ascension through spiritual
No, I was
symbology.
just saying thank you because
There you go.
He threw in what it meant because
Yes.
he's seen me with my jaw down.
I knew where I was kind of going with it. I do have a little difficulty connecting dots sometimes when I'm talking because I have a tendency to just say what comes in my brain, and it's usually pissing off somebody or whatever.
I
But
feel that in my
so I have to connect dots as I'm thinking. But I believe in both. You should believe in both as a Mason. You shouldn't just be the esoteric. You shouldn't just be the down home, small lodge. I just want to get away from my wife, Freemasonry. You need to believe in the whole. I said that on purpose. You need to believe in the whole thing. You need to, extend yourself and live in it in order to be the better man, the better Mason. You can't just say, you know what, my meeting is the third meeting of the month. It's my meeting to go get a sandwich and get away from the damn kids.
Mhm.
That's not the entirety of Freemason.
I feel like some people have this question that watch it in the future or whatever. What's up with the fezzes? Is that a real thing, or is that?
I am not. That is a real thing.
Okay. Okay.
I am not a Shriner.
Okay. So that's just a different. That's different.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So all Shriners are Freemasons,
Okay.
Not all
but
Freemasons.
not all
are Shriners.
Freemasons are Shriners. Kind of like Scottish Rite. Not all Masons are Scottish Rite, but all Scottish Rite are Masons.
Okay.
So that is just another group. And I'm not saying just another group. Oh my God, the Shriners do so much amazing. Shriners Hospital.
Yeah.
And they do so much amazing stuff for this world
Mhm.
that, I'll never I felt almost insulted when I just said just another group.
Yeah.
No, they are just such an amazing group of men. They do such great things. I love the little scooters that they'll do in parades and stuff like that, and the little motorcycles and cars. I love all that, but they do it for a reason. They take care of kids. If you had a kid and that kid was dealing with cancer, and they got word of it, and you're going through the Shriners Hospital, your family is taken care of to the best of their ability. They will make sure that kid has every ride to the hospital that kid needs. They will do everything to make sure everybody's taken care of. And I can't express enough I think personally, in deepest in my heart, that any Shriner is the best of Masonry.
My what was I just about to ask? One thing that you emphasized that it wasn't a question. That's why. One thing that you emphasized that I really want to reiterate for when people read this, you said the good they do for the world, not America, not this country. For the world. That's awesome.
If there's a
That's all.
kid,
Mhm.
this kid is living in little, I don't know, I'll say somewhere in Idaho, and this kid is struggling with cancer and everything. And I don't know where the closest Shriners Hospital. I'm just saying for an example.
Yeah.
These Shriners will take that kid to the hospital, and that kid may end up growing up to be the greatest president of the United States, may grow up to be the biggest influence that another kid may ever have in their world.
Yeah.
That is what I mean when I say influence of the world. If you are, and I do believe I said this at the end of our last thing. It's your legacy. It's what you leave behind and what you can do better. And I don't think the Shriners have a thing to worry about on that.
Dude, you just saying that reminds me of the story of Nicholas Chamberlain. He was the lieutenant in the Civil War. He was a pardon my mouth. He was a teacher in Maryland. He was about to get pushed back at I think it was Battle of the Bulge or some shit like that. The Confederates had him outnumbered like 100-5 because he stood up and said, an all right charge. They thought that there was more people behind the rocks, so the Confederates ran and we won. We won the war because of that. And then in theory, because we're a united nation, we beat Hitler because of it.
Oh, you brought Hitler up.
So it's like
we just
So you saying that about the Shriners reminds me of like, because they saved that kid, he might become the best president in the world, which might whatever.
He may influence. He may change the entire world. That's how the Shriners.
That's awesome.
I think it's funny you went to Hitler because my next question is about Nazis.
Okay.
Freemasonry has faced persecution at various times in history, especially under the Nazis. Why do you think that is? Is it a core principle? Is it just
People don't like secrets.
Yeah.
So if I'm not sitting here telling you, I'll never sit here pointing you say pretend you're Hitler. But if I'm sitting here looking at Hitler and I'm refusing to answer his question of what I do outside of this room, he's going to have a problem with it. These are control issues.
So then I'm going to segue that into the, do you know much about the history of the anti-Masonic movements that happened in the 19th century and how the fraternity responded to those?
So the fraternity responded by just existing. The anti-Masonic movement, they put out tons of propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they were just pouring it out of their asses. Like, they were just, sending flyers in the mail to everybody whose address they had. But boom, the Masons were just like existing.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't fight it necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
They just continued doing what we're doing. And what ended up happening? We continued to exist.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't.
Okay.
We didn't fight them.
No.
We just existed. You can, I'm going to exist regardless whether you like me or not, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well,
sometimes the best revenge is none. You have to do it, yeah.
So why do you think that historically Freemasons have avoided aggressively pushing back against conspiracy theories and anti-Masonic propaganda?
Because it's not our ideals. We're not going to fight you on your thoughts. We're a free thought organization.
Okay.
We're not going to fight you on it. We're just going to live our lives. We're going to be the best men that we can be. And we're going to, hopefully attract the best men possible to our organization. And the other guys can just think whatever they want to think. That is it. That is the down and dirty. We're going to be who we're going to be. We're going to live our life. We're going to do the best that we can do. If we can build a playground, if we can throw a pancake breakfast to support a charity, or what, we're going to do it, whether there's anti-Masons looking at us trying to, we're going to do it.
Okay, before we get towards the end here,
I do have
we're
three more questions.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have 3 more questions.
fine. I'm going to insert one in here. If I was driving down the road and I seen your lodge on the left, would I be able to tell it was a lodge?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. There's one in Vermont.
Oh, I didn't know.
Jackson Lodge has a big Masonic sign right outside.
Okay. No, I've never seen one.
Morton Lodge.
There's also the Masonic Temple, and there's they do concerts.
Oh, the largest temple in the United States, I believe. Yeah, I might be corrected on that, but I believe the largest Masonic temple in the United States is in Detroit.
They hold concerts there.
Throw concerts. They had ICP, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a big.
That is beautiful.
So then how can people think it's a secret organization if you're out in the open?
Just because you invite people in doesn't mean.
Well,
but
my idea of secret wouldn't be I can drive down the road and see
you're
it.
thinking like a
it
sneaky.
boils down to boils down to is people don't like secrets.
Yep.
That's the bare minimum of it.
Mhm.
And you got people like Alex Jones and History Channel and all these other things that are sitting there like, no, they're a secret organization. No, we are not a secret organization. We are an organization with secrets. And quite honestly, and I'm not afraid to say this, those secrets are readily available out there, truthfully, if you know what you're looking for. Just don't listen to the conspiracy theories.
I just enjoy it.
I know. No, that's absolutely why we're having this conversation. If I thought that you were coming at me in even slightly a hostile manner whatsoever, we would not be having this conversation.
That's just rude. I just
No.
asking questions.
I bring up Alex Jones because I think he's I'm not going to say, because this will be online forever. But
My favorite coffee mug says they're turning the freaking frogs gay. So
that's awesome. I love that saying. By the way. I thought it was hilarious and everything, but he is.
he's not as valid after he said some things about Sandy Hook. So
He's not valid actually at all when
I
you
know.
start listening to what he says.
but I have not seen him since
The
then.
Sandy Hook thing, yeah.
Well, that's because he was put in his place and he's no longer rich and famous. He's just famous for being an idiot.
Well, that's all I've ever known him for. Was just being an idiot. Really though, that's all I've ever really.
Okay. What were some major internal debates or reforms that the Masons underwent during the 20th century to adapt to the changing world?
I don't think there are any specifics.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to say something like that when you may have Masons in there that are part of making decisions and stuff like that, but they're just Masons that are part of it. They're not part of it because they're Masons. They're just guys doing their job, saying, hey, this is what I believe, and everything. They're doing their job as politicians or policymakers and so forth. They're not doing their job as a Mason. They are a Mason that's doing their job.
Okay.
Are phones allowed in the temple?
Yes.
Um,
Half the time, me and John Ferguson are sitting there texting pictures or whatever back and forth each other. I think one time, actually a couple of times, I probably texted a picture of my brother when I was flicking him off in the middle of
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. We like that fun too. I mean, it's.
I don't know, for some reason when I think of it in my head, it's like basket by the door, put your phone down.
No, there might be some lodges jurisdictionally that might, but not mine.
Fair enough.
so my last two questions kind of go together, and I'm going to ask them. I wrote them the other way. I'm going to ask them backwards. What historical changes have you personally witnessed in the Freemasons since you joined?
I haven't really seen much of any. I have seen things, like each lodge will change its atmosphere, so to speak, depending on who is elected as officers and whatever, the atmosphere will kind of change a little bit. But as far as like a grand spectrum of something that has changed, I haven't really seen anything.
Good things don't need to change.
Yeah,
I mean, like AA, and I'm not even comparing the two, but since Bill started in 1930, it hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Why? Because it works. Why change something that
Well,
works?
if it's something that ain't broken.
Yeah,
sorry.
no, but exactly why?
In your opinion, this is my last one. I wanted to save it for last. What is the single most enduring historical contribution that Freemasonry has made to society?
Ooh. So that's a great last question because that's a personal question.
Okay.
We talked about it earlier, actually, Civil War, Revolutionary War, and stuff like that. The greatest contribution is that even if you are considered my enemy, you're my brother. You're my brother. I'm going to take care of you. That is my personal thing. That
In your opinion,
Freemasonry is the greatest thing in Freemasonry that has changed the world. Some guys will, I don't know if they believe in the conspiracies and stuff, say the Constitution and everything. my personal favorite is what we were able to view the brothership outside of the enemy. Or, you know, we were saying, you're a brother, take my hand.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, you know, treat you anything other than as a brother.
Fair enough.
And, you know, regardless if I pointed a gun at him 12 hours ago because I was doing my job, you know, protecting what I've held dearly in my heart, the ideals that I have, and he pointed a gun at me doing the same, he's still my brother. We're no longer pointing a gun at each other.
Beautiful.
Okay, I lied. I have one more question. It's
Yeah.
entirely speculative. Speculative.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Speculative word.
Do you think that there was Masons in Nazi Germany that hid some of the Jews due to affiliations?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I do believe that was probably a thing.
Do you think that it may have sparked other people to do the same without knowing why they were doing it?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no reason not to believe that.
Mm-hmm.
Do I believe it's because of specifically Freemasonry? I don't know what was in their heart. I don't know what they were, whatever. But I do believe that Freemasons, or some Freemasons that did that, probably, you know.
Like I said, entirely speculative.
Yeah. There's no, I haven't personally seen any evidence that, hey, I'm a Freemason, I'm hiding Jews. I haven't personally seen that evidence. But I do know there were men that did hide Jews, that did hide even black people, and everybody was hiding from the Nazis. And I'm relatively certain that some of them were Masons. And
I do know that the Masons do not like specifically do political things like as a broad, so I don't think that there would be specific evidence to lead towards that.
Yeah.
But
there's two things we do not specifically, and it's absolutely forbidden, is speak about in lodge, religion, and politics. We are not a religious organization. We're not a political organization. We're a bunch of men that just want to be better men. In the end of the day, we want to help each other become better men. We hold each other accountable. We hold ourselves accountable more so than not.
is there anything I didn't ask about that you wanted to share?
I think I just shared it.
Perfect. Then,
but I will tell you guys this right now. I've watched a lot of your guys' episodes since the last time I was on. You guys do a phenomenal job.
Thank you. Thank you. What would, you cannot speak for your organization, I know that. What do you think the Freemasons' definition of success would be?
The Freemasons' definition of success. So I'll take, I'll leave his name out of it, but I'll take a guy who had a lot of trouble, kind of very similar to yours.
Okay.
And in his life, and he was actually at one point in time denied entry into Freemasonry. Some of us came together and we managed to get him in, and he became one of the most phenomenal. Well, he was, or as far as I was concerned, he was already a phenomenal guy.
Gotcha.
He had already made his life past everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell you right now, if I were to pick up this phone right now and say, hey, dude, show up, he's there. He's exactly what a Freemasonry should be, even if he's not necessarily active at lodge and stuff like that. He's exactly what a Freemasonry should be, even though he, at one time, was exactly opposite of what these guys want, my fellow brothers wanted in Freemasonry. But I think he is one of the greatest guys that I have the pleasure of calling brother and friend.
Awesome.
So when I speak as highly about Freemasonry and highly certain Freemasons, it's more so about them as a man than they are as a Freemason.
Okay.
I think that's our normal wrap-up questions. Well, and then the other one we normally ask, I don't know if we can ask it and make it work, so I'm still going to try to. Let's say you, AJ, you get out of the military, you don't go the path of Freemasonry. AJ gets out of the military, goes the path of Freemasonry. Would you two get along?
Absolutely not.
Understood.
Me 10 years ago would not get along with me today.
Understood.
Me 10 years ago was not a Mason. I would not get along with me today.
Gotcha.
I would look at me like I'm a pretentious prick. Just because I was an ass.
Gotcha.
I treated, I'm not gonna bullshit about it. I treated people, you know, I had my friends and I treated the people I loved and everything as well as I knew how to. I'm an asshole to them. I was an asshole to people who didn't deserve it.
Yes, sir.
And I would have been an asshole to me today.
I feel that also.
So this
Younger
week,
me was not fun.
this week in lieu of gift card, because last time we got you get no, we gave cash last time too.
Yeah, you did.
Well, fuck, doubling up this time. $20. Thank you for coming out.
This is going to be donated to Brooklyn Lodge's Almoners Fund, which is the fund we use if a brother Freemasonry needs help.
That's fantastic.
That's what this $20 will be donated to.
Well, thank you.
Real quick, rewind. Do you guys make a fund to help people? Is that like
Every lodge has its fund.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So if one brother is having serious difficulty with something, and if the lodge has the funds on hand to help him, not to take care of that, not to fix the problem, but to help him and help him get through it, we do so.
Awesome.
And that's what this $20 will go towards somebody.
Thank you for coming out.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for letting me
Awesome.
get conspiracy.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks
You
for
guys
watching, guys.
That was phenomenal.
Okay, well, let me end the live.
Yeah.